Hi, everyone. Carmine Didisco here on the Launch Network. We've got a great show today on Get Retail Ready with Mr. Jim DeBetta. Here he is, the man in the hour. What's up, Jim? What's happening, my friend?
Hey, good morning. All good. Busy as always. Getting ready to do our part two here. I know that the first one.
I don't know why this always happens to Jim. You guys froze up. Is it me or you guys?
We didn't talk about the last time. We're going to talk about ads, and we're going to talk about how Amazon works, algorithms, just all the things that people are curious about. We know that Carlos is going to really give everybody a lot of great information. So let's welcome him in. Good morning, Carlos.
What's up? Glad to be back.
Hey, man. Carlos, you're killing me with this.
He's back with his. Yeah.
You said I'm killing you with it, or?
Yeah, because after we talked about Amazon and things, I looked at my Amazon account and I just was like, things junk. I have no clue what I'm doing.
You're exposed. Yeah, you've exposed Carmine's all of his Amazon weaknesses. So see what you've done.
We got to connect after this, Carmine. Let me take a look at it.
I would say we'll do it now, but I don't want people laughing at me even more.
That's all right. At least he'll laugh at you in private.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, Carlos, I actually have a question or two for you about a couple things too. So yeah, so we'll pick your brain online, offline, however we can. So
absolutely.
All right. So last week we talked about just the basics. What you need, how Amazon works, the types of assets you need, videos, photos, information. We got into that. But what a lot of people don't understand is, okay, you get set up, you're on Amazon, you're live, you've got a product, there's a description, there's some photos, maybe a video, you've got your pricing up there, everything's ready to go. And you're there, and a few days goes by and you're not selling anything. Nothing's happening. And yet you think you have this great product and it's priced perfectly and it's exciting, but nothing. And so I want to talk about, Carlos, you could lead this, but we know that people hear about ads, advertising. And yet when you sell to a regular retailer, we'll call a regular retailer again, like a Target or a Walmart for sake of discussion. When you put something up on Target.com, you don't run ads on Target's website, but yet people see it and you get sales usually if it's something of interest to people. But Amazon doesn't work that way. So can you explain to everybody how that works once you're up and running live, what you need to do, how you really kind of jump up and get visible on Amazon?
Yeah, absolutely. To take a step back though, in a store, in retail, I don't know if I'm using the right verbiage here. You guys can correct me, but we're talking about end caps, promotions, and stuff like that. The only difference is people are going to walk through all the aisles probably when they're doing shopping, and they're going to pass by it, versus imagine if there was 100 million aisles, somebody wouldn't walk through all of them. And that's probably a small number compared to everything that's on Amazon. So if you're on aisle 100 million, you're not going to get seen, even if you buy one, get four free. You need to run an ad so that people can actually see it. So on Amazon, when you first start selling, sellers have given it this name. Amazon doesn't acknowledge that it even exists, but you have what's approximately a 21 to 28 day honeymoon period. And what happens in this honeymoon period is that you've listed your product, it's actually live, and Amazon is now paying extra close attention to it to make sure that it's relevant for the keywords that are in the title. So a mistake that somebody makes is, let's say that they have a green water bottle that they want to sell. They'll put in, instead of just green water bottle for Jim, they'll put green water bottle for Jim and great for traveling, can hold baby milk. And they start putting all these other titles that like every possible use that can happen for this baby bottle, for this water bottle, with the goal of the incorrect goal of, I want to show up as many places as possible, because if I do, I have a greater likelihood of getting a sale. in reality, during that first honeymoon period on a launch, that's horrible. What you need to do is communicate correctly to Amazon. Hey, this is exactly what I am. And this is the only thing that I am. There's a time later, once you have established what Amazon would consider a relevancy score, that you can start adding these other things to try to be relevant for. But right now, you don't want to confuse Amazon's algorithm that you're anything but what you are.
Okay, so you're saying initially you can't be all things to all people. And okay, so if you have a water bottle, obviously you can use a water bottle, like you said, for various reasons. It could be for at your desk, it could be for hiking, it could be for biking, it could be for camping, it could be for fishing. I mean, so you're saying you don't want to say all that. You want to say this water bottle is great for short hikes.
Sure.
Is that the method you're suggesting?
Yes, because what's going to happen there, right? Because if you're trying to be everything, then your title and your bullets are going to have to try to cover everything, and they're going to be very diluted. Versus here is, which we'll get into ads in a second, but here are the paid ads that I'm going to run. They are focused on hiking water bottles. My product is a hiking water bottle. Everything is in line, supporting each other. So Amazon can easily recognize it as a hiking water bottle. They're seeing that people that are searching for hiking water bottle are checking out the listing a lot and have a high conversion rate. Imagine if you have a hiking water bottle, but you stuck in, it's all because you technically could use it as a paperweight, right? Like when it's full. So it's like, imagine if somebody's searching for paperweight and they see your water bottle, they're just going to look at this confused and they're going to bail. So Amazon's algorithm is going to see that as people are not interested in this, like they're leaving, and I don't make money when people leave. So the Amazon will say this product's not relevant, and they won't just cherry pick what in your listing they feel is not relevant. Just the whole listing is not relevant.
Really?
They don't give you a warning. They don't give you anything. All you're going to notice is, oh my God, I'm spending X amount of dollars per day and none of this is converting. Amazon sucks and ads don't work. You don't understand what's happened on the back end with this listing. And let's say you didn't catch this for 60 to 90 days. At that point, it may make more sense for you just to scrap it and relaunch the product correctly.
Really? See, and that's the thing. I think the natural inclination for people is to capture with the biggest net. But you're saying, what's intuitive here is actually the opposite. You should really focus in on one segment within that whole vast world. So like you said, this water bottle, yes, we know it could be used for 15 different things. And the temptation is to say all that so you don't miss a sale. But you're saying, let's focus on, and we'll just use hiking. Let's key in on that once you get some traction. Now, once you get some traction there, assuming you do with ads, can you now run another ad to say, great for just, walking versus hiking? Or how do you expand out on that? Or can you just stay in that hiking realm and just clean up and make a lot of money?
You can do both. But you're going to want to expand. But a few things happened and this is something that's changed in the last, I think, 2 years. So on Amazon, and I think this becomes especially hard with someone that feels they have a unique product or they've invented something. And it's like, everybody needs this. You're kind of an idiot if you don't know that you don't need this. And that's how they take it. But when you're on Amazon, you do not sell products, you sell keywords. And making that mind shift into seeing it that way, a lot of people can't do it. And that's why a lot of people don't succeed. So when you look at it as that you're selling keywords, it makes a lot more sense now that we're talking about a hiking water bottle, and our listing, our assets, everything is geared towards a hiking water bottle and the things that would make someone that hikes convert. Now, to your question, once you've established that and you've succeeded via PPC and a great optimized listing and a lot of other things, and you've succeeded expanding to other keywords. Now, what Amazon has done is they have created relevancy buckets for keywords. So hiking water bottle technically has some relevance to walking water bottle. They're different, but they're both a water bottle and they both have to do with activity. So there is a relevancy bucket there. And what'll happen is if somebody comes to Amazon and they search for hiking water bottle and they buy your product, whether it's from a paid ad or organic placement, you now increase in page position and improve your page position for the term hiking water bottle. But something else happens. Nobody searched for walking or joggers water bottle, but instead of being non-existent or on page 50,000, you're actually going to get a slight bump in improvement for that keyword as well, just because they're relevant. So when you do get to the point that you're established for hiking water bottle search term, you're going to notice that you're also ranking pretty good for walking water bottle.
Okay. So like also, and for running and for jogging. And so I guess this is what we talked about last time, Carlos, was that part of the setup before you even go live is for you, somebody like yourself, an expert at doing this, is to search key terms, keywords that will help build that foundation for the listing before you even actually are listed. Like you said, you can't just put a water bottle up there, throw a bunch of terms out in your description, and base your whole setup on just kind of going wild with everything and then thinking it's going to work. Whereas you would have a strategy and say, okay, look, you've got a water bottle. I'm going to look at the wording, the words that either have more relevancy in a search or that people are searching for. And of course, there's a cost associated with that. I guess it's like website, like you said, like just, SEO and things like that, where certain keywords are going to attract more visitors or more, it's going to generate more, as you would say, a bump up in a search on Amazon. So if I just put in water bottles, because I have a strong listing for hiking, but there will also be a relevancy to walking or running because I'm properly set up. If I just type in walking water bottles, my product may just show up, or that product may just show up simply because initially you created it to have a niche, but that niche also winds up expanding out. It's the branches and those tentacles sort of reach you.
Yes, and that's perfect. It's actually almost a strategy. So a lot of people, when they're first starting off with a product, they don't have, or most people don't have, an unlimited budget to just spend on ads and making this product get top of page one and get organic sales. So imagine if you had a fat burner product, some kind of supplement. This has to be one of the most competitive products out there, in the form of cost per click in advertising. And that's how the ad platform works. If you bid $5 and I bid $10, I win the bid, but Amazon will let me win the bid by 1 penny. So I will take the bid for $5.01. You won't know how I won it, but I'll know because I can see it in my reports, how much I paid for it. But if I wanted to rank for fat burner, and fat burner, let's say, is $28 a click, and my budget doesn't support that. Maybe I'm looking at, I only have $50 a day. I can't even afford 2 clicks. What I'll do is, in my keyword research of my competitors, I'm going to find those keyword long tail phrases that are like 5 or 6 words, and that are really only going to net me a sale a day, 2 sales a day, something like that. Not the 1,000 a day that I get at the top of page one, maybe, or more for fat burner. Because what's going to happen there is I'm going to be able to start getting some sales that fit my ad budget, and the relevancy score works both ways. Since I am, getting some sales for this really long tail keyword, I'm not jumping up to page one for the search term fat burner, but I'm no longer non-existent. I'm slowly climbing up. And by the time I start strategically picking off all of these long tail keywords, I'll reach a point that I could start looking at some bigger fish, because I'm getting 30, 40 sales a day. And I'm using the house's money, if you will, to start going after these bigger keywords. So that would be another way to look at it.
Okay. So let's, for, 101 sake, to explain to people how this works. You go in, I have a water bottle. I say, Carlos, I have this water bottle, and I want to do everything that I can within reason to actually sell them. So you're going to help me craft the listing. You're going to say, Jim, I need this asset from you. I need, whether it's certain types of photos, I need a written description. I need to know all the benefits and features of your water bottle, Jim, so I can craft and also, craft a listing. And also I can search relevant keywords or keywords that are going to allow us the best chance of success. And on top of that, so people understand what you were just talking about, when you advertise on Amazon, when you run an ad, somebody like Carlos is going to go on there, and Carlos is going to research particular words or phrases, and those have a cost, and some are more than others. Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong at any point. The more you pay or the more expensive a keyword is, that's because those are the keywords or the most commonly searched words. So if I'm searching hiking water bottle, I'll just use as an example. I'm not saying this is the most relevant word, but if it's hiking water bottles and that costs, and it's you pay $5 for every time somebody goes on Amazon and clicks on that ad, or if it's just stupid water bottles and that's a cent in it because nobody would search that. But if you pay 1 cent for the search word stupid water bottles, nobody's ever going to actually click on that. Is that the way it's set up, and is that the understanding that for people to know how it works generally?
Yes, but I want to add another facet to that, not to make things more complicated, but imagine we're in New York and there's like, I don't know if it exists anymore, but it's like that Macy's store. And it's like, how many people walk by that store?
Yeah.
The foot traffic has to be in the millions, but how many of those millions actually go in the store? And then how many of those actually, or is the search volume? And the more search volume a keyword has, yes, the higher the cost per click is going to be, like the more competitive it is. In addition to understanding what you just said, I need to be, and this is something that I do, is that I look at, and Amazon doesn't share this particular data. They'll show you search, they won't show you conversion. And I'm like, okay, somebody searches for watch or watches. The likelihood of somebody converting on the search term watches with what comes up on the first page is actually very small versus G-Shock swimming watch. Like someone knows exactly what they want. So watches is the foot traffic in front of Macy's. Sports watch would be the people that go in the store. G-Shock swimming watch, I just happen to like G-Shocks. G-Shock swimming watch is the conversion. So the search volume on G-Shock swimming watch is a lot less than just watches, but the conversion is significantly higher.
So we're hoping, right? So we're hoping that for the hundreds of millions or billions of people that go on Amazon a year, that the temptation is to just put watches and just hope that the 60 billion people that will search that will somehow find your particular watch. But what the reality is that you should really segment or really drill down on that particular watch with those particular features or benefits, like G-Shock waterproof watch. You might think, wow, no one's going to go in and type that, but people really, there are enough people. I always tell people in the world of retail that if you just sold not even 1% of the amount of people that would have a need for your product, you'd be filthy rich, because there's so many people. It's not like there's 1,000 people a day on Amazon, and what are the chances? Sometimes it's almost surprising to think how many people will actually search for something like G-Shock waterproof watch. You think, oh, no one's going to really look for that. I should just put watches in because it's, but there's probably thousands and thousands of people a day that will put in that wording, and then you're going to pop up because, like you said, you're creating a niche listing.
Well, that's a good question, Jim. And I know Carl's about to say this. How do you know what keywords are right to use?
You're going to know that because you're going to run paid ads, and you're going to look at the data, and you're going to look at the reports. Plus, if you're working with an agency, or one of the benefits of having an agency is that I work with a lot of different brands, say in the same niche, or have worked with a lot of brands over time. I can imagine it has to be somewhat like this with what you guys do. You develop these contacts and you understand certain categories better, and you understand what people really get excited about in a specific category. So you can just go right for the juggler, and you start working with someone. It's like, you need to do this, this, and this, because you already know, like,
but you're going to do that, Carlos, but you're going to do that keyword searching for that person anyway. Like we were talking about before, if I say, Carlos, I got a water bottle, but here's what it does. I tell you, here are the benefits, here are the features, here's why it's different. This is, I send you a sample and you look at it and you're like, oh, and you're going to say, Jim, look, I did a keyword search, and based on what I'm finding, that if you just put in water bottle, you're never going to get seen. But if you put in hiking neon green water bottle or whatever, I'm making up stuff, right? You have here's where you might land, but it's going to cost you X amount per click when somebody clicks on that, but your conversion rate could be much higher. Jim, you may be paying more per click, but people are clicking on that because they had they specifically searched for that particular thing, right?
Yes, I can build that out, but the algorithm and the way people search for things, and when you start adding in misspellings and all kind of stuff, it just becomes, it just gets massive. It's this living list of keywords that you're going to do. So one of the ad types or targeting types that you could do is, let's say, G-Shock waterproof swimming watch. I mean, I guess it would have to be waterproof if it's swimming. Let's put G-Shock underwater swimming watch. Now, that search term, I'm going to run it and I'm going to run an ad on it, but I may go after a broad phrase match for that, because yes, I want them to search for it exactly, but I understand that G-Shock underwater watch may mean the same to someone as G-Shock swimming watch, because that implies water, or G-Shock waterproof watch. Waterproof, underwater, and swimming are close enough. Like, we can change that word out, but we're still including G-Shock and watch in the same search. So it's broad how it can match. We can change up the frequency. Now, when I run ads like that, I'm going to be able to look at the data and say, wow, somebody's searching for G-Shock marine watch. And maybe there's a small percentage of people that just like to use the word marine, like sea or ocean, than they do want to use pool or underwater. And I'm like, let's just own this search.
Yeah.
Here.
See, that's the thing. That's what you do. And see, this is what people don't understand. What I think a lot of people do, well, I know a lot of people do this. They get a product, they open up a storefront, they put a product up there. They don't know what they're doing or how to do it or what keywords to use, and they don't get sales. And then they're surprised by it. But behind the scenes, what you're doing is you're doing a lot of investigating. You're looking, you're searching for keywords, you're seeing the kind of traffic keywords get, coupled with Amazon's algorithms, which are always changing, and then running an ad and then tweaking it and honing in on, like you said, a particular phrase that you can own. And even if it's really, really tight and particular, if you own it, you could make a fortune with it potentially, because Amazon's pushing you up, and you may show up in other waterproof or watch, searches, because Amazon, right, will favor products with momentum, products that are getting sales, products that are making money. I mean, I know I would feature a product that's doing well if I owned the Amazon platform, because I want to make money, because Amazon makes money from all those sales. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that most people do is they do what you just said, and they say, I have a watch. I'm going to run an ad for the word watch and watches, and I'm going to spend $100 a day. And a few months in, they're hemorrhaging $3,000 a month and not getting anywhere because they're going after the wrong keywords the wrong way.
All right.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, Carmen, I know you'll cry to Carlos later about all your problems. Hey, Carlos, I want to get this in, because again, we can just have an Amazon series all year. I mean, this is what really happens here. But a question I get a lot from people is, how much do I need to spend? And again, I know that there's no simple answer, but generally speaking, if I'm starting out, I have a water bottle, I've hired you to help me research how to best position it, set up the listing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we're ready to go. How much is really needed initially to spend on ads? Because a lot of people that we work with, Carlos, they don't have a lot of money. And I'm sure, like a lot of people, if something was working, they would throw more money at it if they're seeing a return. But it's hard to tell somebody, well, you need, $2,000 a month, or, $5,000 a month to run ads on Amazon when they don't know what kind of return they're going to get. So if I'm a beginner getting set up on Amazon, what's a reasonable amount to spend, just generally speaking?
Yeah. Let me say this first, though. Like, I've worked with people. I personally have been in the position where I didn't have a bunch of money when I was starting, and I've ran ads starting at $5-10 a day. That just needs to be in line with your goals. If you have a $5-10 a day ad budget, you can't also have I want a 7-figure business in 4 months. That's it. As long as those two are in line, you work within your budget, and then you're going to hit your goals at the timeline that you're ready. If you're spending $5-10 a day, say $10 a day, and you're making $45 in sales, I bet you'll start spending $50 a day.
That's what I mean. You're building, and that's the thing. I think what a lot of people do is they say, well, I want to start small, and if it grows, I'll throw more money. And of course, if you're making more money, and obviously there's a correlation between ultimately what you spend and what you can make. If you spend more and you continue to push it, you're likely to get more business from it.
A quick question, Carlos, and this is purely for me. If all the listeners,
let's do it. Just say asking for a friend. Say asking for a friend.
Yeah. So this guy I know. So I spent a lot of money on ads, and I did that, and it was my fault. I know I did that. So I was getting a lot of clicks, and I'm running all these people to my product. But then I'm like, well, why aren't they buying my product? Was that because I was using the wrong ads, or I just didn't have the right product? There's so many different intricacies that I could see what you mean. You really need to start slow and test each step, because I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong, because there's so many pieces to the puzzle.
So 2 quick diagnoses you can do right there with clicks and impressions. If you run an amount of money, whatever, let's say $100, use easy, $100 a day, and you see that you have a lot of impressions but very low clicks, and that means people are searching for a product. Amazon is serving your ad up. That way you're getting the impression, but they're not clicking. What that means is people are seeing your product, and the only thing they can see is your main image and your price. And if they're not clicking, it's because either your price is way off, or your image is not relevant. An example here, I know somebody that has kids play with Legos. They had this Lego bag. It didn't really, like, kids' saliva and stuff gets on the Legos. It didn't really work. So she had this genius idea to get like a lingerie bag, where you put like bras and stuff and throw it in the laundry and zip it up to where it can breathe, but keep everything together. She's like, let me just put the Legos in here. She thought it was genius. It was like, I have this new invention. It's a Lego bag that gets air. And the thing is, it's not a Lego bag. It's a lingerie bag, right? So she decided to run ads for Lego bag, and people were now seeing a lingerie bag served up as a Lego bag. She got a ton of impressions, but no clicks, because there was a disconnect. Now, in your case, you have a lot of impressions, but no clicks. I'm sorry, you have a lot of clicks, right? Was that right? Impressions or no clicks?
Yeah.
What?
A lot of
that was your scenario?
Not a lot of sales.
Okay. So now in this case, someone searched for your product, searched something relevant to your product, saw your product. That means your main image was right. Your pricing was in line with what they wanted. They clicked. You made that critical first step. They got to your listing. What that usually means, we could say this on the podcast, it usually means your listing sucked. Like, there was a major disconnect. Some of the things that could be, maybe you had 1 or 2 images and they were like stock images, and you didn't do your job in really converting. Your assets maybe were kind of like hobbyist instead of I plan on killing it here. Your bullet points were probably lacking. They had questions, and your main image, your title, and your bullet points did not answer that for them immediately.
Well, Carlos, could it be that what his ad initially was enticing, and then somebody clicked on it, but then when they actually got to the listing, like you said, it was a letdown. Like, there wasn't enough information. There wasn't enough, the pictures. There weren't enough good pictures. There wasn't a video. I mean, I would think that, to me, I've been on Amazon where I've seen a listing for something that I've searched. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, or that looks like something I need. But when I click on it and I read the listing, I'm like, well, maybe it just has like only like a couple of reviews, or there were things about it that made me not want to buy it, but there was enough for me to initially click on it. It sounds to me like that might be the case.
Yeah. The listing was not optimized. That's if you have a good amount of impressions and you have a lot of clicks but no buys, it's your listing. 100%, it's your listing. You fix your listing. You actually did the hard part. Like, you're getting in front of the right people and you're getting them to click. Optimizing your listing. I mean, let's connect after this. I'd love to look at it. I guarantee you, like, we could fix that.
Yeah. And how important, obviously reviews are important, but do people really go strictly by reviews?
Reviews are important, but I don't think they're as important as people, usually service providers of reviews, like to believe that they are. I mean, if a product has 5,000 reviews and another one has 21 reviews, some people like are attracted to the 21. They like the underdog. They like the new fresh thing on the block. So now if you have 5,000 reviews and 21 reviews, and the 5,000 has 3.5 stars and the 21 has 5 stars, what are you going to buy? The 5 stars.
That's true.
Now, if you have same scenario and they both have 5 stars, is there anything differentiated the product? If not, then, you know, if you just have the same blue yoga mat as them and you have a Me Too product, then reviews are probably impactful there.
Hey, Carlos, is it possible, because I know, again, the time just goes like so quick, and Carmen, if you're cool with this, if we can get you back on for part 3, but here's what I would like to do, and tell me if this is possible. Is there a way that we can get a listing like on this podcast? I mean, obviously for people that listen, we can talk it through, but for those that watch it, we have a visual, we pull up an actual listing and we could literally pick this thing apart and show people like, here's a listing, or, and not to disparage it, but just really to say, well, like, here's a great listing. Here, look at all these great things. And then here's a listing that could be better. And here's what you would do to improve it. Because a lot of people do have an existing product on Amazon, and they come to me and they say, I've got this product and I'm selling a few pieces, but I really want a lot more. And I need help ramping this thing up. And maybe it's their ad spend. They need to spend more. Maybe it's the listing, like you say, that they're getting lots of clicks, or they're getting lots of impressions, but they're not getting clicks. And where they need a diagnosis, as you would say. And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know. I mean, I know other retailers. Amazon's its own thing. Is that something that we can do?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Carmine, what do you think
put his
of that?
listing up.
Yeah,
Carmine
we can
put
use
his listing up, or somebody else, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I have. I mean, if Carlos doesn't have one, I have 2 that are in the 2 different Amazon
why not, right? I mean,
stores that are in the trash.
What better way to tell and show people than to actually pull up a real live example, and so people can kind of learn from Carlos's expertise on how do we take what's good, what do we think is great, and what do we think has potential, but it just needs to be tweaked in this. You know,
one of my products, Carlos, keeps getting killed by that voice of the customer. They just keep closing my listing down. I call and they go, oh, just re-up. It's like they go through all this trouble to close my listing down, but then they just let me put it back up. I'm like, what is the sense then?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, your product's getting destroyed on relevancy. So
yeah,
depending on how often that's happened, you may even want to just relaunch the listing correctly.
But doesn't Amazon flag that? Wouldn't Amazon flag a takedown and relaunch, or
you have to use another GS1 barcode, like another UPC code, and besides that, no, they're going to care about what that thing looks like in the first 21 to 30 days.
It's funny too, because the voice of the customer thing, like a couple of people said, I don't like the packaging, or it didn't do what I wanted it to do. It works, but it didn't do it. And whatever people say, they don't look at it as the product's not good. They just look at it as a complaint. And I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what though? Like some of that, there are some instances where you have your competitors trying to sabotage your listing, but I look at feedback. I love when I see some negative feedback. I mean, there's this book I read, Hug Your Haters by Jay Bear. And it's really just how to turn, bad experiences that people have almost into a positive revenue source in improving your product. So, I mean, if enough people, voice of the customer, having an issue, like your product sucks, they could be petty. I mean, your packaging sucks. Like they could be petty, but maybe your packaging sucks. Yeah. So like, I would just run it through a tool like PickFu and like do some other looks on your packaging and improve it.
Well, I'll send you access to my listings. And if you think that they're a mess, I know they are, but if you think that we could burn it up there and help people, I have no problem doing that, because it would be helping me too.
Yeah. Send me the links. Just send me the links to the product. 100%. We could do that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot for people to understand, to learn about, all of this information that is sort of, it is inside information, because I think what people go online and read about Amazon, there's lots of articles that tell you how to do it, but there's nothing like hearing it from somebody that does it day in and day out, like Carlos does. I mean, Carlos, this is your everyday, and only by experience and doing can you really say with some authority that I'm telling you that, yes, while it's not 100% all the time, but this is how it's going to go when your listing looks like this, or if your listing looks like that, this is what's likely to happen. Or if you use these keywords, you have a much better chance at succeeding than using those keywords. And everything's in the foundation, everything's in the setup. It's no different than products we work with that are going to be sold online or to major retailers. Everything is in how it's manufactured, how it's priced, how it's packaged, how it's presented. All of those things collectively, there's no one thing that does it, unless you just have something that's just so amazing that people will disregard everything else and just buy it. And, those are fad things. We see them every year. There's 1 or 2 products that, we know they're cheap to make. They're a lot of times they're toys or little things. And for some reason, they just catch on. And then with social media, people spread the word, and the thing has its life for a year, and somebody makes a lot of money, and then it goes away. But generally, the foundation you create and build will dictate success. It's always like that. For all the years I've been doing this, the best products are the ones that are prepared well, that are marketed well. And in Amazon's case, it's how you, not just that you advertise, it's how you spend your money while advertising. You, like you said, Carlos and Carmen, you could throw a lot of money at ads and get nothing. And that's disappointing, especially when we know that there are people like Carlos that can actually help them spend that money in a better way and have a much better chance of actually seeing a return on that investment. And it is an investment. Creating an ad and putting it up there really doesn't cost much per se, comparative to the amount of money you'll spend running it and getting people to click on it and then converting that into an actual sale.
Yep, I agree.
I support that message.
Yeah, it's. I mean, really, it's simple and complicated. It really is. At its heart, it's really a simple concept, right? You create something, you set it up right, you do your research, you launch it, you advertise. It's easy, the steps to hear, but to actually execute and get all the details right is a whole nother thing. And that's why you have experts. People say, well, Jim, I can call on retailers and I can do this and I can. Well, yeah, you can, but 9 out of 10 of those people will come back because they'll have done it incorrectly. They get emotional about their product. They think it's great. They think that it's so great that they don't have to worry about the other things. And the other things are what make a great product ultimately. Mm-hmm. And as you know, Carmen and I, we've seen lots of great products sell zero, but it's a shame because you're like, if they just did this or they just did that, or they put their pride away and just handled it differently, it could really be a big seller. And then we see ridiculous products that don't deserve to be making millions. They are, because they follow the rules, they follow the steps, they invest correctly, they work with people that know more than they do to get it out there, versus just thinking that they can do everything on their own. I don't do everything on my own. I know what I don't know. And when you acknowledge that, that's when you can usually get yourself in a better position to do well.
Yeah, I agree. No doubt about it. Well, listen, Carlos, as usual, man, this has been great. Now I got to go jump in the
cry
lake
over your listings. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go jump in a lake next door to my office now. And, it's funny because I have a couple different listings, and one of the listings on Amazon created several products for a gentleman. Actually, is the gentleman that started Redbox, the video kiosk.
Oh, yeah.
He's a friend of mine, and he wanted to create several products in a line. It's a health line, and it's for cold sores and canker sores and different types of products. And it's just, to me, it just was a super tough market to break into. The products, we made the products and developed them, and they're great. They actually work. It's just, to me, it's just super competitive, because people are already in a bad mood when they buy your product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it doesn't work like instantly, they're
you're done.
They're so mad at it.
You create backlash that you don't, the unintended, right?
Yeah, so it's, but I loved you to take a look at that one because,
well, we'll get Carlos on next. We'll get him on for the final. And like I said, we can go all season with just Amazon. That's for sure. But at least I know people are getting a lot of great behind the scenes information and also the basics, what it takes to just get set up and how to advertise. And next week we can talk about specific listings and I think it'll really help people because it's relevant to everyone. Has a listing and there's some basic things on there for everybody that people put up there, and they can take a look at their own situation and say, hey, I really need to make some changes here to have
Hey, Carlos, before we jump off, I want you to tell our listeners what you do, who's your perfect customer, where they can find you.
Absolutely. Anybody that wants to sell on Amazon, anything A to Z, I'd love to chat with and work. We work with small companies, just starting. We handle the stuff for Clorox and Furminator on Amazon. So much larger companies. Easiest way to get a hold of me is, I guess, good old fashioned text. You could put it out there. No one actually uses it, but it's 305-902-1283. And just tell me what's up and what's going on. What do you need help with? And I'll help you out.
Cool.
But you're over social media too. People see, I see your posts constantly popping up a lot for your podcast.
Wizards of Ecom.
Wizards of Ecom. So people can find, I'm on LinkedIn the most, and my feed is always your stuff popping up. So people can definitely find you there for sure. Carlos, listen, we appreciate it. This is really helpful in a world that's dominated seemingly by Amazon. You're in a good position to really help people along, and it's good to know that you help not only established brands, huge brands, but people who are just starting. I think those are the people that need the help the most because they don't have the budgets that a Clorox would have, and they need to make the most of their money. And I think you can help people to do that. So we appreciate your time helping.
Yeah. Cool.
Amazing. Yep. I look forward to coming on the next one. You guys are awesome.
Yep. Thanks, Carlos. All right, guys, all you listeners out there, thank you very much for sticking with us, for going out to Google Play, iTunes, wherever you consume your podcast. Also, YouTube, the Launch Network, and check out Carlos's podcast, Wizard of Ecom. It's actually pretty cool. I love the name too. Let us know how we're doing. Give us a review, and we will catch you next time on Get Retail Ready with Mr. Jim DeBetta. You all take care.